morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Thankful that you're with us this fine Monday, March the 25th, 2024. It's definitely shaping up to be what we would call a non-winter, and we're coming to basically we're already in spring, but I mean, you still have that winter-like weather possible. But it was a beautiful Sunday yesterday. Sun was out for half the day. And as we know, the weathering project, or whatever they call geoengineering or whatever, took over about halfway through the day. And by the end of the day, it was totally cloudy with a few little pockets of blue sky there. But yeah, so we might have a little follow-up on some of the documentary that we've been watching, listening to over the radio and over our live feed, as we are live on CKLU 96.7 FM. We're also live streaming at facebook.com, youtube.com /Sudbury News, both of those. So make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow those social medias, along with, if you're on the Facebook or YouTube, make sure to comment if you're watching live, because that's why this show has been, put into existence, is to have a conversation about the news, our views on the news, if you will, and our feelings on what's happening, and somewhat, if we have, sometimes we have bits of information that other people may not have, and we share it with each other, and we try to make sense of this community that we're living in. We try to make sense of the region, the province, the country, and the world in which we are living. Not always easy to do, especially in these times. It seems to be getting more and more polarized, and possibly, all this talk about information, misinformation, malinformation. What is real information, right? So we do our best here to not speculate on things, but try to get to the bottom of things and really just ask the questions that every one of us should be asking anyways. Not everyone does. So we're going to just dive right in today. We got weather, a little bit of a sports update on how the Wolves did this weekend, and the Five. And, after the weather, and then we have local news headlines, and the speed cameras started to be operational as of Friday in 6 locations in the city. So we might talk a little bit about that, and then city in general. What is this city? What are our Canadian cities up to? Do we make our own decisions based on, things that are going on for our community, for the betterment of our community, or are they influenced, our decisions, that is, from outside sources, mainly large NGOs and large organizations like the WHO, the WEF, things like that, that basically influence policy in our communities. So that's something that I think going forward we're going to want to look at, because I think it's really educational to know why certain decisions are made in the communities in which we live, and especially this one. This is what the show is about, Sudbury, and but at the same time, the same things that are going on in our city are going on in other cities across the country and possibly across the world. And it's important for us to know, to be educated, in order to know how to better take action in our communities for the betterment of our communities. And you can't take action if you're not educated on, what you're taking action on. And what we've seen over the last couple decades are people taking action on misinformation and malinformation. And it's basically been mainstream misinformation and malinformation. And a lot of action has been taken place and a lot of policies made on higher levels of government and mid levels of government and low levels of government, meaning federal, provincial, and municipal. And we've taken action on basically theories that are not proven and theories that are making people anxious and scared. They are designed to do that, that the, total destruction will happen if you don't take action in these ways. And then we're finding ourselves having to live with these decisions. And in the first place, the information has not been verified. It's only a fraction of experts or whatever that are saying these things, but we're taking the baton and we're running with it. So anyways, that's what we'll be doing. We'll be trying to get to the bottom, getting real information from real sources about what's really going on, asking real questions, and having a real conversation about it, and not trying to, not having an agenda other than trying to find out what's going on in the world we live in. So let's dive right in. Let's just start off with the show. And CKLU had our pledge week last week, so I'll need to check in with Rob and see how we did with that. But at the same time, just because pledge week is over doesn't mean that you can't hop on over to cklu.ca and make a donation, whatever you can afford. Don't go into debt at all to support local community radio. However, if you find that it's important and it's something that you benefit from and it's something that you enjoy and something that you agree with that needs to be in the community, head on over to cklu.ca, make a donation, buy some merch, which also contributes to keeping the lights on and the mics open keeps us on the airwaves, basically. So we appreciate you. We appreciate you because this station is for you. It's to serve the community, and it's supported by you. And without you, this station would not exist. So thank you very much for either if you have donated or if you will be donating. It definitely is crucial for the life of the station. So thank you very much. We had another pledge week go by, and it's always great to promote the station for Pledge Week. We're grateful for all the volunteers that took their time to come on, and it was a great week in terms of all the shows that we had and the guest DJs, hosts, and yeah. So let's just build on that, keep the momentum going, and always remind ourselves that the station relies on the generosity of our citizens and listeners. And so that with that, let's dive into some weather. We'll be back with that and much more. Sports headlines, news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. And as usual, Sudbury weather is brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. Currently, it's -3 out there, -3. It feels like -9, however. Today, it will be mainly cloudy. 60% chance of snow early this morning. The wind will be 20 kilometers to 40 kilometers. High of 6. Wind chill -9 in the morning. Tonight, partly cloudy, wind becoming cloudy. Partly cloudy, becoming cloudy after midnight, and wind will be moderate, and the low will be +1 tonight. That's kind of mild compared to what we've been experiencing lately. Tuesday, cloudy, showers beginning near noon. The wind will be gusting to 60 kilometers an hour, so it'll be rather windy, high of 6. And look at your long range here, Tuesday. high of 6 with showers. Wednesday, chance of showers or rain. Rain, showers, or flurries, sorry. They're both the same thing. High of 5, 40% chance of precipitation Wednesday. Thursday, chance of flurries. High of 1, 30% chance of flurries. Friday, mix of sun and cloud, high of 3. Saturday, mix of sun and cloud, high of 4. And mix of sun and cloud on Sunday, high of 3. So look at that. Pretty much the whole week, the highs are in the pluses. And I'll look at your satellite, all that precipitation coming there. Basically, we are inundated with clouds and some kind of system. And that's your Sudbury weather. Brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. We'll be back with sports headlines and much more right after this. Your Sudbury Wolves will be starting the playoffs rather soon, but they will not be starting the playoffs here in Sudbury. They don't have home ice advantage. Unfortunately, however, they ended up in 5th place in the Eastern Conference, and there were only like single digits of the teams above them, basically. Like North Bay clinched the division they are in, only winning one more game than the Sudbury Wolves. That's how close it was. They ended up finishing 5th in the Eastern Conference, but again, could have almost as easily been first. A couple more wins kind of thing and a couple more losses. But the team they faced yesterday, the Oshawa Generals, beat them 5-1. It really was 3-1, but we had an empty net with 5 minutes left in the game. Scored 2 empty netters. They are on a 12-game winning streak going into the playoffs, the Oshawa Generals. So it just goes to tell you, it wasn't like, the Wolves were beaten very easily. They have the number one offense, arguably, in the OHL, the Sudbury Wolves do. And that's how good the Oshawa Generals have been and are at the moment. So before that, though, the Wolves won in convincing fashion the 2 games previous. So Friday night's game here against Barrie, they won the game 13-4. And Saturday, they were on the road against Niagara and won 9-2 before losing, like I said, really it was 3-1, but ended up losing the game 5-1 against the Oshawa Generals. They will begin their playoff series here. Well, they won't be in town until April 1st, although they they're going to be facing the Mississauga Steelheads in the playoffs. So they're going to be going to there for their first game. And I thought I shared the playoff schedule on my Facebook feed, but I guess I did not. So hang on one second here. We just take a second, and with the miraculousness of the internet, you're able to see it real time here. So game 1 will start in Mississauga March the 28th, Thursday. So that's this Thursday, March the 28th. Then the second game will be Saturday, March the 30th in Mississauga as well. And then they won't be in town here until April the 1st for game 3 of their series against Mississauga. And then game 4 will go ahead Wednesday, April the 3rd. So Thursday, Saturday, you can probably more than likely catch the game right here on Eastlink or right here on CKLU 96.7 or Eastlink on TV. Puck drop 7:05 for the Thursday and Saturday game in Mississauga. And then get your tickets now for the 2 playoff games, April 1st and April 3rd. That's Monday and Wednesday of next week. And get out and support Sudbury Wolves. The barn will be just a rockin'. And it's not going to be an easy series against Mississauga. So it'll be, it's going to be, they're going to, if you're going out to watch the game, it's going to be a nail biter, and you're going to need to, push your Wolves over the edge with, what you can bring to the game in the stands, which really does a lot. You can't underestimate fans in the game, especially playoff games. Moving over to the 5, however, they also played this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Unfortunately, they lost against the Kitchener-Waterloo Titans in overtime, 127-122 on the Saturday, and then they were right back at it on Sunday against the Windsor Express, in which they won that game 115-108. So they lost the first game, won the second game. That's your Sudbury Sports, brought to you by SudburySports.ca. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and much more right after this. Okay, we have a few of you on already today. Now, Facebook's been doing something, something funky with the algorithm. We were having about 40 people being on per day live, and now we're back to like when we first started. It's almost like they rebooted us, and we're back to when we first started, where we get around 20 people or so. So really, and the amount of views went from maybe 1,000 to 100. That's how many. So I didn't do anything different. We're doing the exact same thing we've always done. If you're trying an experiment, and the experiment was this show, something changed, right? So if you're doing a science experiment and you have those results, something changed somewhere, but it wasn't from here. So obviously Facebook changed something which affected how much the show gets out there. So it is what it is. So make sure to like and share and subscribe. Also, if I was to show everyone here, it's they're also doing something where the people, you who are on, aren't officially following the page or aren't officially, liking it or whatever. It just says that you've been invited, and that's it. Now let's see if I can show you an example here. Okay,
You're listening.
I apologize for that. Any other video, they already have it muted when you go to play it, but unfortunately, this one is not the case. So let's see here. A lot of you, I'll just show you here on the screen. Well, the screen is there. There we go. And on the radio, you won't be able to see this, but the idea being, here's people that are on the show every day. And if you click on the video, and then you click on the people that like it, or somehow put some kind of an emoji, you're all just showing as invited. So many people have been on the show since day one, are not officially following the page. Oh, we have one person. Okay, one person out of everyone that's on the show pretty much consistently, 2 people now, so that are following. It just goes to show you the numbers you see. If you go to you go to Sudbury News on Facebook, it says we have 7,000 followers almost. And, but that's because, I don't know. I'm sure a lot of these people say, well, I know I followed the page, but it's not registering on our end that you're following. So something going on with social media, and maybe there's social media gurus out there that are going, that's because you didn't do this, but I don't know. I just think if you go to follow a page, you should just follow it. You don't have to do 50 million things to make sure you're actually following the page, right? So something funky going on there. I'm not sure if every page experiences the same thing or not, or if it's just me. I have no idea. But that's something I've wanted to show for quite some time now. And just was able to do it at this point. So I'm just getting some other news headlines up here, but at the same time, let's see who is checking in, and some shout outs to people that are on this morning. Let's see. So Nancy is on YouTube. So good morning, Nancy. Still can't get it on Facebook. So that's interesting. So I'm saying can't comment on Facebook. So again, in keeping with the theme of something funky going on with Facebook. Thanks for that, Nancy, and good morning to you. Good morning, Belinda. If words don't add up, it's usually because the truth wasn't included in the equation. Way true. And that's what often sparks questions, right? Someone makes a statement, even in your conversations with people that you know or you're getting to know, someone says something. You're like, I was late getting here. Well, what goes on through your mind when someone makes a statement like that? I was late coming. Sorry. Oh, were the roads bad? Oh, you catching all the lights on the way here? Oh, aliens came and abducted you? So you have questions when someone makes a statement. So a lot of times you read news and you're like, oh, well, why is that? It's pretty simple. Most of us commonly ask questions like that when you don't understand something. So, and then you start asking questions, and if it gets more ambiguous and more ambiguous, it's like, oh, I'm not feeling well today. Oh, did you eat something that, maybe was, what did you eat today? So you start trying to problem solve right away when someone presents something, right? Oh, I can't open my door anymore. It's like, oh, you don't just say, oh, yeah, okay. Well, that's interesting. People don't usually do that. They say, oh, well, is your frame, does your foundation kind of move in the seasons kind of thing? And now your frame's off and you can't open your door anymore. We already start problem solving when someone gives us some kind of statement like that. It's human nature. But yeah, a lot of times if someone's trying to lie to you like that, saying, oh, I don't feel too well. Oh, that's interesting. I saw you just running up and down the street, or I just saw you out playing with someone, or I just saw you were perfectly fine 2 minutes ago. You know what I mean? Oh, no, I've been sick for 3 days. Well, that's interesting. I saw you on Facebook posting a video where you were playing basketball 3 hours ago. No, I wasn't, right away. So it's easy to start seeing when there's lies in things, when you just start asking questions, and questions are normal for people. But today, in some circles, they're considered dangerous, and they're considered dangerous. Possibly you'd have to ask yourself a question. Why would certain people consider questions dangerous these days? Why is it dangerous to ask questions? Why are people accusing other people of spreading false information? All the information is, you'll know whether it's true or not just by reading something or listening to somebody, asking questions, and you can basically eventually, through a series of questions, know if something's true or not. Even if someone's giving you misinformation, it's not that hard to get to the truth of things. It will get harder and harder, though, as AI starts to become very prominent in our world. You'll be shown videos of people being said that is true, that this is, you'll be hearing things of them saying things that isn't true. Someone just made it up with AI, and you'll be told that it is when it isn't. And there'll be people on all sides doing it about the other side, and it'll get very confusing. And you're really going to need to be very grounded in what you know and what you don't know, and how to get real information. It's going to get very confusing for people. Judy, good morning. Thanks for being with us. And thanks for that positive statement of the day, Belinda. We're always on the same wavelength. Manik, good morning. Sudbury, happy face emoji. Maurice, good morning. Denise, good morning. The notifications have not worked this morning. Do share, people. Okay, so yes, no, something with Facebook. Not sure what's going on. The chat is off. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Greetings, Sudbury campers. Is it election day yet? Soon, I think. Well, you heard the story that the Trudeau-Singh coalition government are trying to push the elections when they come naturally 1 week in the future, so that way everybody can get their pensions. Yeah. That's what's going on. Belinda, no transparency with our local government. Having meetings at 1 to 3 in the afternoon excludes the majority of people attending. That meeting at Tom Davies Square was a joke. Nobody from council came out to talk to the people that attended. Interesting. Oh, and the reporting from Tyler at Sudbury.com said that the Freedom Convoy people targeted the meeting. Maybe that's why. And when I saw a video of it, looked like they were just standing around in the hallways reading the material that was provided for people that would be in the hallways, not able to get into the meeting because the room was small enough for a public meeting. That was, like you said, 1 to 3 in the afternoon. So they guess they weren't expecting many people. And why would you have a public meeting when you're not expecting many people? Public, could potentially be every single citizen in the city that you should potentially plan for. I don't know. Anyways, these are questions, right? These are questions. They're not dangerous. If they hurt your feelings, then you got to do something about your why. Ask yourself, why do questions hurt your feelings? It's kind of weird, You just, yeah. So Brian Poulin, rally for change, donate today. And David, good morning. Take care. Stay safe. Thanks, David, for that. Brian also. I will be making a donation, a contribution to Sudbury News today. Thanks for all the work you do for us, Aaron. Okay, well, thanks for that, Brian. And yes, I don't mention it very often, but I do this show. Now, it was Pledge Week for CKLU, in which we are on right now, but also this show is volunteer as well, and it costs me about $400 and some per month to be able to bring the show to you with the subscriptions for the different softwares that are used not only to live stream, but also to stream onto the computer at CKLU. So that costs, and the hardware itself, the rent of the studio. There's a few other things web page wise. So for Sudbury.news, there's a lot of costs associated with that. And when you add them all up, it comes to about $450 per month, depending on what the American exchange is, because a lot of the subscriptions are American. But thank you very much for that, Brian. And I don't feel comfortable oftentimes just letting people know that. So thank you for that. Denise, and if you were to want to donate, it's the only way we have right now is to e-transfer whatever you feel you want to sudburynews@gmail.com. sudburynews@gmail.com. So thank you very much. Denise, good morning, everyone. Morning, Vin. Thanks for being on. Monique, good day, folks. Let's keep on sharing the truth before Trudeau's Online Harms Act kicks in. Yeah, you never know. This show may be no more when that comes in, because basically anyone who says anything other than what, the state wants us to say, or then they'll just be state news, because no one will be able to say anything and you'll be arrested, kind of thing is what's going to come from that. And then there'll be the people saying, that's not what it's for. It's to protect the kids. Well, you got to read it, first of all, and you got to see all the other laws and legislations that this government has been putting into place, and the things that they feel are important, and the ideology that drives them, that they've subscribed to and that they're activists for. And then you see what, the goals that they're trying to achieve, because they don't just come out and say, what kind of world you're going to be living in 15 years from now, the world that they have all these goals for, what it's actually going to look like, because you can't really have that conversation because it ain't going to look very good. But they have to paint the picture. It's the unicorns and lollipops and things like that. Good morning, Shirley. Thanks for being with us. Good morning, everyone. Wishing you a happy, blessed Monday. Same to you, Shirley. Denise also says, I see chats on the page, but don't see it on the live broadcast here. Well, that's interesting. So again, something different going on at Facebook. The folks at Facebook, I saw someone just followed the page who works for Facebook, and they live in Sudbury here. They're a page administrator or something like that for Facebook. It says that on their whatever they put for their profile. So that's interesting. Maybe that particular person can look into why things aren't working properly with the way that it's supposed to work. I have no idea. Now, Vin says, should be tight playoff season. Oh, for sure. For the Wolves. Yeah, there's a lot of strong teams in the OHL. It's going to be a tough battle to get ahead. We hope the best for one of the best Sudbury Wolves teams we've ever seen here in the city. One of the absolute best lineups, especially offensively. But anyways, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Miles, pretty sure you did see it. Good morning. Oh, the notifications. Thanks, Miles. And again, some people get them, some people aren't. Okay, so the chat is now working. Okay, not so. I guess it's working. It's not working for some of us. No comments on the feed. When you make a comment, okay, you can get in. Oh, you can't get in. Okay, so there's something going on with the feed. Maybe it'll correct itself or something. We're not sure. Okay, so it looks like it's coming on for some people. Good morning, everyone from Barrie. Liked and shared as usual. That is Mary Ann. Hope you're having a great morning. It looks like our comments are coming in and out and on and off, but we're rolling with the punches. And good morning, Sheila is in Quebec at the moment. And lots of great things coming out of Quebec in terms of the farmers standing up for themselves in policies that are very anti-farming, anti a lot of stuff. Again, if we talk about this government and the ideologies they have and why they do what they do, once you start understanding these things, you start asking questions, you start looking into things, you start getting answers, you start seeing things for what they really are. And if they'd actually answer real questions from people, it would be even more revealing and more kind of, a lot of people would, what's the online act really for? Like, you've seen that, the movie with Jim Carrey, where he couldn't tell a lie. And, same idea. Now I'm turned my notifications off, but you're hearing dinging here. But it's a Nick Gervais who's reaching out and sending me a message. So let me check. Nick is on the show quite a bit. I don't know if there's something that pertains to the show, so I'll look at it here. Okay, so no, it doesn't have to do with the show. I'll just say, okay, there you go. And hopefully that will do it. Denise says, every morning I shared to the groups and down Messenger, but I can't now. They won't let me. Okay, so you can't share. There's also something that just came out that said third-party apps will not be allowed on groups going forward. So something like this that I'm streaming with is a third-party app. So let's say Sudbury News was a group. It wouldn't allow that to happen. So there's a lot of things going on to not make it easier for people to actually have a show like this or use technology to get the word out with a show or whatever. You have to just use whatever Facebook has in order to do anything. So again, they're not making it easier and helping people and whatever. It's just they're censoring and clawing back and monitoring and things like that more and more. So we're seeing, and a lot of people are going, yes, that's what's been needed for a long time. The internet is such a harmful place that I don't feel safe when I go on it. And that's, I guess, that's a thing. And if that's true to you or true for you, I feel sorry. I feel bad. I have empathy for that. But just go to something else if something hurts your feelings. The internet, if you find something hurts your feelings, go to something else. You can only click off of it. It doesn't force the thing to stay on your phone or your device. You go to something else. It's like if you eat something you don't like at a buffet, you're like, I'm going to the manager and I'm telling them to get rid of that food because I don't like it. So just don't eat it. Like, leave it where it is, even though you can see it there on the buffet. Other people could like it. You don't have to eat it, So that's what the internet's like. And people are going around complaining that there's these things on the internet that are hurting their feelings, I guess, or they're saying things they don't agree with. So you need to censor it and take it off. You know, it's the same thing as going to the buffet and you didn't like that thing on the buffet and you're telling the restaurant to get rid of that because you don't like eating it. So it's as simple as just don't click on it. Don't watch it. If you see something you don't like, it's like, yeah, you don't have to watch it. Simple. Can't even communicate, not seeing each other's comments. That's Miles. Scott says, good morning, Siberians, and good morning, Scott. Anyone feel that the city lacks lawyers who fight hard for clients, but are more interested in settling regardless of their clients' desires and needs? Interesting. Okay, so, lawyers in the city not really fighting for their clients or their needs? Well, I would say that's more than likely true. They always try to get to whatever, a plea deal or some deal to just get it done, and that's what I find about police too, with investigations. They just want to get the paperwork done. They just want to get it done, come to the easiest conclusion. It's no getting to the bottom of it, no, kind of losing sleep over, thinking about this investigation and really trying to solve it, these types of things. It's like, okay, let's just get this thing, whatever. Let's just charge somebody and whatever it looks like, let's just get it done, So lawyers, probably, it's a culture with the system, probably. I don't know. I like whenever I have to go to court and defend myself and have to think about ways to, present the facts in a way that's going to be, telling of the truth. So that way someone doesn't get convicted that's not guilty, or myself, or, just get to the truth of things. But sometimes you got to be creative to do that. And that's where a lawyer's knowledge is supposed to come in for you, right? So Miles says, I can't hear the comments posting, but not seeing anything. I can hear the comments posting, but I can't see anything. That's interesting. So I guess there's some kind of notification sound. Marianne, yes, you always have to check your page. Yep. I was on my page trying to look at all the settings and stuff. Everything looks good on my page. It looks fine in order to work. There's nothing that I need to do on my end. I guarantee you. It's just something that's just happening. Watch tomorrow. I won't do anything different and things will work or whatever, or not work. I no longer get reminders of your live. I have to go to your page. Yep. We'll have to resort to old school marketing and just put up a billboard or something. Say, hey, check out Sudbury News live each weekday morning between 7:30 and 8:30 on CKLU, Facebook, and YouTube. Oh, you got to leave and return. That's what Vin is saying. Maybe that helps. Also, there's a lot of comments that are not seen. Noella, good morning to you. It's working on my end, but Facebook is shadow banning. Many groups have this issue with mentioning true things or certain things, right? Again, algorithms. If you mention something in the algorithm, it says, okay, put them in this category and do this to them. I guess is the only thing we're thinking. We're not told by Facebook. Facebook doesn't reach out. It's not transparent. It doesn't come out and say, we don't like people mentioning this. Please stop it. But because if they did, it would show, well, why don't you want people to mention that? But they don't want that question. So they'll just go back and do it. People don't like questions if they're doing things that aren't 100% above board, right? So Noella says, Facebook removed some post on your Facebook group. It was too truthful. Oh, interesting. Okay. I wonder if that's to me or somebody else, but well, if they're removing things, that's interesting. Again, I guess they don't believe that people can just look at something and then look away. They believe it must somehow harm them and give them trauma if they hear something they don't agree with or believe Marianne, yes, if you are following someone regularly, just keep checking because notifications are not happening. Someone called the police about the speed cam being vandalized, and they were told the camera isn't run by the police. It's owned by the city and their responsibility. Oh, that's interesting. So the police aren't really doing anything if these speed cameras are vandalized. So that's telling in some ways, right? If you were someone who is thinking of going out and doing these things, and you were to think, well, if I do it, the police aren't going to come at me anyways. The city's going to have to do something. So the city wouldn't be able to get the police to come and do something if the camera was vandalized. That's interesting. So more like it belonged to China, just like the towers we had in an investigation CSIS done. Not like our equipment at all belongs to China. Well, possibly it's made in China, I would think, a lot of the things that we have here. And how do we know that the feeds, all these license plates, that the pictures are being taken of, and that information isn't somehow getting to China if a lot of the technology is made from there, right? So Vin says, pretty proud of Val Karen, little disappointed in Garson, wink. Yeah, so I did have a picture here of the component there that takes pictures of your license plate. I guess someone put a garbage bag over the one in Valcarin. Not sure if that stops it from doing its thing or not, but the Valley East Community Facebook group shared that picture. That's interesting anyways. I didn't know you can just put a garbage bag over it with some duct tape to keep it on, but Noella says, because WEF, Klaus Schwab, don't want people to accept the Great Reset. Facebook wants what the WEF wants. Okay, so Linda says, good morning. The problem is they don't want people like us telling the truth, or so our problem in our cities. So that's Linda. Good morning, Linda. Thanks for being with us. And yeah, so a lot of comments this morning. Seeing what's going on here. We got some stuff to start sharing, obviously, or else we would just be going on with the comments for the whole show. And a lot of times, most of the show is that. So if you have something that you feel is important, you want to say, you'll get on earlier than not, because a lot of times I'll read your comments the earlier on the show, and then we just share the comments for those watching afterwards on the screen, other than this. So Evelyn's joining us on YouTube. Good morning, Evelyn. Thanks for being on. Subject today, we are talking about the speed cameras that came into effect on Friday, and one of them already has a garbage bag over it with some duct tape. That's in Valcarin. And, we've found that the people wanting these cameras are about 33% or so of Sudbury's population, from what I'm able to gather from comments and likes and dislikes and things since we've been talking about this for the last 6 months or so. We have, about 33% of Sudburyans saying, yes, finally, we got something that's going to, slow drivers down or make our streets a little safer. They feel safer with these speed traps out there. And then about 66% of the city are not for the cameras, from what I'm able to gather here, just from looking at social media and seeing comments from multiple sources, from CBC. Not that they have comments on their social media, but they do on their website. From Pure Country's Facebook, they went out there just the other day. And Anik is on. Hey, Anik, how are you doing? Glad to have you on. Got your messages, but wasn't able to read them in real time while the show was going on. But I'll check those out as soon as I'm done with the show. And it is a choice to be offended. There's no doubt about it. 100%. And because we've been kind of commenting and having a conversation, there are a lot of comments going on here. So let's see here, diving right into some of our local headlines for the day. Sudbury.com, they usually do their Good Morning Sudbury kind of headlines from the weekend and whatever. And Sheila, good morning to you. I've probably already gave you a shout out. I don't remember doing that, but I'm just going to get everyone's comments up on here as we get the news started here. New CEO says Sudbury Hospital is working hard for Sudburyans. Health Sciences North new CEO, you remember the last one, Dominic Giroux, who was the former president of Laurentian University just before it went bankrupt, was alleged by many, many people to have been very, very part of and being responsible for that taking place with Laurentian University, and then moving on to the hospital, and then for getting another job at a hospital in Ottawa. That Dominic Giroux, he used to be the president of, and Brian, good morning to you. Thanks for being on. He used to be the president of the hospital, but the new president, David McNeil, told Greater Sudbury Chamber of Commerce audience when they had their meeting just recently that aside from the business impact of the hospital in Sudbury, there is a significant role played by the hospital in keeping more Northern Ontario people alive and healthier because of innovations in medicine. And he also said, and I think one of the things we need to celebrate is the quality of service and the innovation that happens here at Health Sciences North. He remarked that improved technology means improved health care in many ways. He presented a brief video depicting the story of a man who suffered a stroke at home. He was rushed to HSN where he performed diagnostic imaging with a CAT scan. A large clot was found blocking part of his brain. Physicians at HSN were quickly able to perform appropriate surgery. After the video, McNeil remarked, it would be hard to imagine what outcome would have happened without the technology and the specific surgical procedure that saved this man's life. So yes, we're very grateful for a hospital in our city and very thankful that we have technology in that hospital. And yes, we are very, very grateful for that. However, the services that people get here in the city, some people say they have to wait quite a long time in order to get those services because it's inundated and it's not big enough for the population and not enough parking there. That's some of the things I hear when you go into Emerge. You feel like a number, not a name. People are in the hallways before they can get, a room, many for long periods of time. But they didn't mention that, I guess, in the chamber meeting. We have a CAT scan machine and surgeons, and if you got a blood clot, a lot of people getting blood clots these days as well, more than usual, right? So it's probably good we have that CAT machine and surgeons who know how to deal with the blood clots. The drug addiction in Sudbury is too serious to ignore. Sudbury.com again with this story. In the past month, the Sudbury Health Unit has issued no less than 3 new drug warnings. Say that there is an increased report in the number of overdoses, drug poisonings taking place in the local jurisdiction. And while the warnings might seem like a rehash of old news, it is really anything but said public health nurse Sam Mortimer, and member of the mental health and substance use team at Public Health Sudbury and Districts. Mortimer said the key reason for sending out the new warnings is to keep the message top of mind and for frontline workers and for people with addictions. The message being there are more and more incidents of poison, illicit drugs being part of that, being distributed at the street level, and more cases of people overdosing, far too many to ignore. She said putting the warnings out there through word of mouth is vital. And really the important piece with sending these out and having healthcare providers and frontline service workers like harm reduction workers get the notice and have communication with us, because then that sparks those conversations with people who use drugs on the front lines and as they access services, said Mortimer. Okay. Now, here's something that's going to change policing. All these part of the same theme, I guess you can say, in Sudbury. We're treating people at hospitals with all of these particular, with drug abuse, and, we're putting out warnings that drugs are not safe on the streets. And the Police Act is changing now too. So Police Act changes is transformational, says Greater Sudbury Police Chief. Complaints against police will soon be investigated with a greater arm's length separation from police, meaning police will no longer be investigating police. Now that is very innovative thinking. Police should not be investigating police. So this will change and be very transformational. This is one highlight of what Greater Sudbury Police Service Police Chief Paul Pedersen described as transformational change in legislation soon taking effect. The Community Safety and Policing Act was passed by the Government of Ontario on March 19th, 2029, and finally comes into play on April 1st. A lot of things happening. April 1st. It'll be quite the April Fool's Day this year. Following several years of public consultation, the Community Safety and Policing Act takes effect. April 1st, affecting police organizations throughout the province. The Act's wide-reaching changes will affect approximately 60 Greater Sudbury Police Service procedures, Pedersen told Sudbury.com this week, describing them as a means of improving public trust in police and modernizing language. There you go. So there's a couple things going on there in our greater city of Sudbury. Checking out Sudbury.news. Here we got Sudbury accounting professor educating newcomers to Canada about tax returns with tax season approaching, already here. And accounting professor in Sudbury is urging international students and newcomers to Canada to file returns. That's from CBC. Interesting. We might have more on that tomorrow. An expert talking about the impact of the amount of newcomers in Canada and how that's affecting everybody at every level. Even the things we've been talking about today with possible wait times at the hospital, things like that weren't addressed by the new CEO of our hospital in the chamber meeting. So we'll have to maybe dive more into that and see if we do talk about some of the issues we have. Not just, again, Sudbury's great at patting ourselves on the back, but we're not great at looking at the issues we have and how to solve them when the common everyday person experiences these issues. So tomorrow we'll talk about that, but I'll never forget one of the students was an international student in one of my college classes just running down the hallway, had his first part-time job and was waving a piece of paper in the air. And he came to me and he said, "What is going on here? Look, someone made a mistake on my check stub. It's not what I'm supposed to be making, such and such per hour, and they're taking all the money away. They made a mistake." I looked at it, said, "No, that's just taxes coming off your check. Welcome to Canada," So I guess it'd be good that we all realize, even new Canadians, how much we're taxed, and we're going to be taxed 23% more coming up April 1st. Speaking of April 1st, with the carbon tax increases. So we're very thankful for that. As we know, it will definitely solve all of our problems as promised, and that's why we're taxed, because there's a promise that comes with the tax, with the unicorn and lollipop world that will exist shortly after we pay for that. So that's your show for the day. Glad to be here with you. And hopefully we'll be back. Same time, same place tomorrow. We have Earshot Daily coming up right here on CKLU. So stay tuned for that if you're listening to the radio. And make sure that head on over to cklu.ca. Support the station. Pledge Week is over, but our commitment to community and campus radio isn't over. And I would just encourage everyone to continue to support us. And we really appreciate that support. So have a great, wonderful Monday, everyone, beginning to your work week. And we'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.